All right, Steeler fans, let's sit down here and let's talk about an aspect of this season so far that I think is kind of flying under the radar. And I think that we have to sit down here and give a little bit of credit to because for as well as Justin Fields has played so far, and for as well as the offense has been moving the field and, been attacking a little bit more, I think that we have to give one guy his credit, and I think it's been kind of going unnoticed, like I said, and that's Arthur Smith. What's going on, everybody? I'm Mac, back with another video. As always, do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, follow on Instagram. Link is in the box below. So one of the reasons that we are 3-0, aside from the defense just continuing to just dominate on all aspects, and Justin Fields with his newfound confidence, and Justin Fields, playing mistake-free football, and receivers running better routes, coming up with big plays. I think the one guy that you got to give credit to, that I think a lot of Steeler fans have failed to do so far, is Arthur Smith. Now, when we hired Arthur Smith back in spring, I think it was back in spring, either early spring or late winter. I know one of those two. But when we hired him, I was a little bit puzzled with it at first, but I also knew that it could potentially be a good hiring for us, and he could potentially be a good OC for us, because I think what the Steelers have offensively, Arthur Smith can work with it. We're talking about a guy who was Tennessee's offensive coordinator, and he built up a really good offense with the Tennessee Titans with Ryan Tannehill as the quarterback and Derrick Henry as the running back, and he had a couple of good receivers down there as well. And a lot of people were hating on the hire, all because Arthur Smith was head coach in Atlanta, and he led the Falcons to 3 straight 7-10 seasons, horribly misusing guys like Drake London and Kyle Pitts. But you also got to know he didn't really have a good quarterback either. Okay, I mean, are we going to act like Desmond Ridder is just some kind of God-sent quarterback down there in Atlanta, and that the Falcons had some kind of superstar power on offense, while Arthur Smith is certainly not a really good head coach? Okay, that's where it lies in. Sometimes head coaches make better coordinators, and the other way around. Coordinators make better coaches sometimes, and in this case, it's the former with Arthur Smith. Because like I said, he may not be a great head coach, but the guy knows what he's doing as far as offensive coordinator goes. And like I said, we saw that when he was down in Tennessee. Because you take a look at the Steelers' offense, at least for this year, we have a very similar personnel than what he had with the Tennessee Titans. He built a really good offense down there in Tennessee. He had a really good methodical attack down there in Tennessee. He had a really good mix of play calls down there in Tennessee that involved big plays from Derrick Henry, good running plays, good designs, and then a good methodical attack as far as the air game goes with Tannehill. And now you're kind of starting to see that a little bit with Justin Fields. Maybe Justin Fields isn't the kind of guy that can bomb a ball down midfield, but you see Justin Fields starting to take a little bit more risks, and you're starting to see him gain more confidence with throwing the ball a little bit more. And like I said, the only bad thing that I have to say about Justin Fields for not just Sunday, but basically for the whole season, the only bad thing I have to say about Justin Fields so far is that he forced an interception last Sunday. That's the only turnover that the Steelers have had on the entire season so far. That's it. That's the only bad thing I have to say. But other than that, this offense works under Arthur Smith. I mean, are we going out there and overwhelming everybody with total yards and running up the score on everybody and, going for 500 yards a game, and Fields is out there throwing for 300 yards every game. No, they're not doing that. But that's what I said a little bit ago in the video. This offense is built to wear and tear down defenses, a solid ground attack, which, yes, the run game was slow in the first half this past Sunday, but the second half comes around and all of a sudden you start to see Najee get some more yards. You start to see the O-line block for him a little bit better. You start to see the O-line open up some more gaps for him to go through. And I think the only reason why Jaylen Warren was limited in that game is because he's been hurt. So I'm not fretting on that too much. But you start to see it right there with the ground attack. And the biggest thing that I love most about this offense so far, ball control, time of possession. That is how you have a good offense. Like I said, take our first touchdown drive, for example. The Steelers went 70 yards in 7.5 minutes on 7 plays. A lot of sevens right there. 70 yards, 7.5 minutes. And it resulted in a touchdown run by Justin Fields on an RPO. You take a look at how the Steelers did on offense on Sunday, and the stats surely won't make you be like, oh, the Steelers easily have a top 5 offense in the NFL. It's how you just execute it. And the Steelers easily dominated in time of possession. They had a lot of ball control. They were careful with the ball. And they weren't out there to just, like I said, overwhelm the Chargers on offense. It's all about being organized. It's all about eating up clock and resting the defense. So that way, when the defense goes back out on the field, they're refreshed, they're rejuvenated, they conserve their energy, and they're gonna be able to go out there and make plays. Also, if you remember, the Steelers attempted a 62-yard field goal just before the half, down 10-7. That's Boswell's only miss of the season. Basically, that was just an in-game practice kick. That was an in-game practice kick that Boswell missed. It was from 62 yards out with the Steelers down 3 points just before halftime, and the Steelers were going to get the ball to start the second half. That's the only miss that Chris Boswell has so far. Other than that, he's still perfect. And what did the Steelers do in the second half when they got the ball? Tied the game up. And then, of course, you get the big knockout blow when CA3 has the touchdown reception that went 55 yards. But that's what I'm saying. This offense is built to tire out the opposing team's defense. It's built to just control the time of possession, and it's built to be careful with the ball. You know, I know everyone isn't going to, scream in excitement about 2 touchdowns, 3 on the season so far. I know everyone is going to criticize that. But take a look at last week against Denver. The Steelers had penalty after penalty after penalty against the Broncos last week. And like I said, if you commit that many penalties against a bad football team, not saying that, the Broncos are terrible, because, hey, they went into Tampa Bay and they pretty much shut the Buccaneers out. So I'll give Denver credit there. But Denver is still just not a very good team. But you can get away with having 10 penalties against a team like that. They won't cash in on it. But if you have that many penalties against a team like the Chargers, they're going to make you pay for it. And the Steelers, I remember the Steelers only having like 2 penalties on Sunday. So that was a big step right there. Huge improvement from the week before. And as far as the QB play goes, Justin Fields has done everything that he's been asked to do. No one is telling him, "Hey, go out there and do your best Dan Marino or Patrick Mahomes or Peyton Manning or Drew Brees or Tom Brady impression out there." No one's asking Justin Fields to do that. We are asking Justin Fields to go out there and deliver and be the best QB that he can possibly be. Oh, he's a game manager who has a stacked defense, Mac. Oh, he's a game manager who has, a good set of receivers to throw to. Oh, if you give the Steelers O-line, if you give the Bears the Steelers O-line, the Bears would never have moved on from him. Okay, so be it. If Justin Fields is going to embrace the game manager role for this season, then he embraces it. So what? Let me ask you guys this. What do you think NFL fans care more about? Do you think NFL fans care more about scoring touchdowns? Or do you think they care if their team wins? Come on, use common sense, people. Look at the Bengals last night. They lost 38-33 to Washington last night. Do you think Bengals fans care that their team scored, 4 or 5 touchdowns last night? No, they don't care because their team didn't win. Their defense got carved up by a rookie quarterback last night and couldn't stop a nosebleed on the ground. And you take a look at us, we win 20-10 with only 2 touchdowns. You think I care that we only scored 2 touchdowns? No. I care that we won the game. And I care that this offense is being productive and we're seeing improvements with the offense and we're seeing confidence. Can Russell Wilson do this if his number gets called up? I have no doubt that he can. But like I said, there is no reason to put Russell Wilson in there right now. I don't care how his calf is feeling. I don't care how healthy he says he is. You have to keep Justin Fields in there, at least for right now. You have to keep Justin Fields in there. He has done nothing to warrant him being benched. The bottom line of everything in this video is that because of Arthur Smith, the Steelers offense now has more of an identity right now than it ever did with Matt Canada. And mostly with Randy Fichtner. This Steeler offense has the most identity I've ever seen since Todd Haley was the OC. All the way back to about 7 years ago, this offense has lacked an identity, and now we have one, okay? We're not going to overwhelm teams on the stat sheet. We're not going to overwhelm them with yards. We're going to beat them the old-fashioned way, which is chewing up clock, ground and pounding you, wearing and tearing down the defense, and resting arse so that way we can keep you off the board. That's why this defense has allowed only 26 points through the first 3 weeks of the season. The fewest points that we've allowed in a 3-game stretch. Someone mentioned this in my comments the other day. The fewest amount of points that the Steelers have allowed through a 3-game stretch since 2011, where we allowed only 19 in a 3-game stretch. And I think that we owe this defense playing up to its potential to Arthur Smith, despite him being the OC. Because he's getting the offense down the field. He's getting the offense to dominate in ball control and time of possession, eating up yards and eating up clock, and giving the defense rest. Arthur Smith, I think he's our OC, and I do think he's the right guy. I had confidence that he could be the right guy, and it's starting to show right now. That's why we're 3-0. And I think Arthur Smith has done a very good job so far. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Do you think Arthur Smith is doing fine? Do you think the offense can be successful under Arthur Smith? Let me know what you think. I'm Mac, checking on out for the day. Have a good one, everybody.